Hello, my chosen one, starseeds and neurodivergents. I hope you're doing very well today. Today, we're going to be talking about things that chosen ones, starseeds, and neurodivergents think about. Not your average thoughts on a day to day, but very deep, probing thoughts that just has pondered inside of your mental for a long time now. All right, let's get started. First thing we're going to start off is with the sun. What exactly is the sun? Is it plasma? Is it a ball of fire? Is it a rock like the earth and just has lava all over? Is it an atom and it's just exuding radiation down to us? Those things are very important questions that we think about as starseeds, chosen ones, and neurodivergents. Why do we think about those things? Well, because we're just in awe of the creation that God Source has brought into this existence. When you really think about it, when you look up into the sky, the moon is just a floating rock, a big rock floating in the sky. Yet, people think that telepathy is fake. Yet, people think that time travel is fake. And here we are, living our lives day to day with a rock floating above our heads while they say the world is spinning at a certain amount of speed. The crazy part is that when you really look up in the sky, there's planets past the moon that are supposedly locked into an orbit. But one thing that sticks out to me from what I learned in school was that the universe was always expanding. So my question is if the universe is always expanding, why are the star system still locked into the same place that they were since when I was a kid? I can go outside right now and identify the Big Dipper very easily. But something feels off when they say that the universe is constantly expanding. And I feel like if it was constantly expanding, it would be in a completely disarray. But that just shows you how good God Source is at designing things, especially you, chosen one, starseed, and neurodivergent. God Source put all this together, and you're a part of that system, which means you're almost perfect by design. The next thing we're going to be talking about here, chosen ones, starseeds, and neurodivergents, is radio signals, frequencies, and data. Those sources are invisible, and they are able to allow us to communicate with each other. Electricity inside of a light bulb. Someone managed to capture that source and knew the precise designs to put together to make it emit a light source. Electric eels. They hold electricity inside a biological system. Yet, I can't shoot lightning bolts from my hands. There are just questions that we think about on a day-to-day that just seems off. I feel like at some point, a lot of us, starseeds, chosen ones, and neurodivergents, were very powerful in the olden days. And we had a lot of different abilities that we could use. It's almost like they were taken away by something, but slowly but surely they are returning. We also think about UFOs and how their propulsion system works and the technology that they might have. Not because we are afraid of them, but because we would like to actually ride and look at the equipment and understand how it works, just so we could go to another star system. We have a very innate ability to want to be interested in flight and time travel. Not flight in the sense of being in a machine also, but feeling how a bird would feel if you were able to physically float up in the air. One of the big things that stays on the mind of a chosen one, starseed and neurodivergent, is what happened to Jesus Christ. Why did Judas betray someone who was so helpful, someone who caused miracles, who took care of the poor and freed and liberated many people? It's almost strange that someone would do something like that for only 20 to 30 pieces of silver. And if you convert that into today's money, that's basically nothing. You destroyed someone who was doing good on this planet that God Source installed here for 20 pieces to 30 pieces of silver. It just never occurred to me that someone could be that cruel to their own person that they were around on a day-to-day, every single day. Another thing that chosen ones, starseeds, and neurodivergents think about is traveling. We always want to go somewhere that's beautiful or somewhere that's ancient so we can study and look at the history, because we know that there's a lot of history in the past that can show us how things work in the future. For example, Nikola Tesla's work. It was destroyed from what I understand, but he had discovered a lot of things and was taught a lot of things by God Source. I wish that we weren't doing destructive things like that and taking away the people who have really good gifts on this planet, who are trying to help and not doing it for greed. Sometimes you want to go visit the Northern Lights because it's just a beautiful phenomenon. You also know that if you go to the pyramids of Giza and you're ever able to understand the hieroglyphs, you would want to be able to read every single text and manuscript to understand what happened during that time period. Another thing that's always on your mind is what the hell is going on in Antarctica? It seems to be a place that's very restricted from regular people going there. Sometimes I feel like taking a flight and just going over there, but obviously I know I can't go there because I'm not allowed. But we do think about it all the time because in our minds, there's possibly some kind of connection to God Source or entities that exist outside of the human race. You tend to think about this design of this universe and just the earth in general. God Source made the birds, he made the bees, he made the rivers, he made the seas. All these things, for some reason, all work in unison every single year, year after year, for eons, and everything is still perfectly balanced. It's almost like climate change was a hoax, and it's not really up to us, and it's up to God Source what happens in this realm. You look at a lot of things, the way they're designed, how children are being born, and how trees grow to be 1,000 years. Sometimes that tree can be used as a boat for a civilization that had to discover something new. All these things pushed our civilization forward to the point that we are now here with AI. But the reality is AI doesn't control anything, and God Source controls everything that's around us. Another big thing that you think about as a chosen one, starseed, or neurodivergent is how life is going to be after we are gone. We always think about our health and how well we take care of ourselves to make sure that we live a very long and prosperous life. But what boggles our mind is what will happen after we leave this earth if we live to 90 years old. Will technology be at a level that's way beyond what we could even ever imagine? Will the actual propulsion systems that we think about become a reality? Will virtual reality be so good that you can go into a game and experience it in real time at your house? Or will humans develop and start working together because there happened to be another civilization that got into contact with us? There are so many questions that we think about as starseeds, chosen ones, and neurodivergents going into the future, because we can see the direction that the technology and our progress is pushing us. We do hope that all will work well in the future, because we do want our offspring to have a good time. With that being said, these are some of these questions that we think about as starseeds, chosen ones, and neurodivergent. I don't know why we think about them, but they must be important to us for us to be having them on our minds. Possibly, it might be something that we have already predicted to come in the future, and it just hasn't caught up to us yet. Either way, we're going to be riding with the waves. See you in the next one.